araştırmacıları, sevgili öğrenciler, değerli konuklar, Yükseköğretim Çalışmaları Derneği'nin OSTİM Teknik Üniversitesi İşbirliği ile düzenlediği 7. Uluslararası Yükseköğretim Çalışmaları Konferansı'na hoş geldiniz. Yılında Yükseköğretim Gündemi ve Yeni Nesil Üniversiteler teması altında 3 gün sürecek olan konferansta seçkin konuşmacılar, paneller, çalıştaylar ve sunumlar ile yükseköğretimde dikkat çeken konular ve araştırmalar tartışılacak. Değerli konuşmacılarımıza, panelistlerimize zamanlarını ve uzmanlıklarını bizlerle paylaştıkları için içtenlikle teşekkür ediyor. Hepsine buradan bir kez daha hoş geldiniz demek istiyorum. Ayrıca bugün burada bizlerle olan tüm değerli konferans katılımcılarımıza da teşekkür ederiz. Şimdi sizleri Büyük Önder Gazi Mustafa Kemal Atatürk ve ebediyete intikal etmiş şehitlerimizin manevi huzurunda 1 dakikalık saygı duruşuna, ardından İstiklal Marşımızı okumaya davet ediyorum. Teşekkür ederiz. Açılış konuşmalarını gerçekleştirmek üzere Yükseköğretim Çalışmalar Derneği Başkanı Sayın Profesör Doktor Armağan Erdoğan'ın kürsüye teşriflerini arz ederim.
I'll start in English and continue in Turkish because we have a special guest and one is arriving just now also. Dear Rector, dear invited speakers, colleagues, students, and dear guests, welcome to the 7th International Higher Education Conference organized by the Higher Education Association in collaboration with OSTİM Technical University. This year, we determined the conference topic as the agenda of higher education in the new century of Republic and the new generation university. We have chosen this topic particularly because we are starting the second century of our Republic, and higher education will be an important topic as it was in the first century. The theme of new generation has become important because our hosting institution, OSTİM Technical University, defines itself as a new generation university. We prepared a very intensive program lasting for 3 days. So we are very happy that you didn't leave us alone and you are here. It's very important for us. We have 4 distinguished invited speakers in these 3 days. 54 papers will be presented by different higher education researchers, either in English or Turkish, in parallel sections. A rector's panel will be in this afternoon, a workshop, a roundtable, and 2 symposiums will be within our program in these days. Within the scope of this conference, there will be the presentations from massification of higher education to quality assurance, from university life after the earthquake to internationalization, from digitalization and artificial intelligence to research ethics, and from professional development to academics and their well-beings. So there is a wide variety of themes that will be covered. Our association, the Association of Higher Education Studies, was founded in 2015. Since then, except for the pandemic period, international higher education conferences was organized in different universities and in different cities. This is the 7th of the conferences. I must add that it's very important in terms of sustainability of the field, a small field like higher education in Turkey, because we are a handful of researchers in this area. So we are trying to make it sustainable. For this reason, I would like to thank everyone who has worked and contributed to previous conferences of our association. I will now turn into Turkish, but I should remind you that there will be a program of translation, so you can follow it you can see it on the screen from the QR code. You can download and have the translation with you. Sayın Rektörüm, değerli davetli konuşmacılar, öğretim üyeleri, öğrenciler, katılımcılar, hepinize hoş geldiniz diyorum. Yükseköğretim Çalışmaları Derneği Yönetim Kurulu adına. Burada olmanız bizler için çok değerli. Bizi yalnız bırakmadığınız için çok teşekkür ediyoruz. Bu yıl 7.sini gerçekleştiriyoruz bu çalışmaların. Bu yılki konferansımızın temasını Cumhuriyet'in yeni yüzyılında yükseköğretimin gündemi ve yeni nesil üniversiteler olarak belirledik. Neden bunu belirledik? Çünkü 100. yılını tamamladığımız Cumhuriyetimizin 2. yüzyılında da yükseköğretim alanının ve yükseköğretim konularının ve yükseköğretimin içeriğinin Türkiye için önemli bir alan olacağını düşünüyoruz. Temamızın 2. bölümü yeni nesil üniversiteler. Şu an içinde bulunduğumuz ve bu konferansın gerçekleştirilmesinde çok büyük katkısı olan OSTİM Teknik Üniversitesi yeni nesil bir üniversite olarak 6 yıl önce kuruluşunu yapmış bir üniversite. 3 günlük bir program hazırladık. Oldukça yoğun olduğunu düşündüğümüz bir program. Bu program içerisinde 4 tane davetli konuşmacımız var. Onlara teşekkür ediyorum bizleri yalnız bırakmadıkları için. 54 paralel oturumda konuşmacılar farklı konularda bildirilerini sunacaklar Türkçe ve İngilizce olarak. Bugün öğleden sonra bir rektörler konferansımız, rektörler panelimiz olacak. 3 gün içerisinde 2 tane sempozyumumuz, bir çalıştayımız, bir yuvarlak masamız gerçekleştirilecek. Bu süre içerisinde ilgi duyduklarınızla katılmanızı çok isteriz. Konular konferansın ana çerçevesi kapsamında yükseköğretimin kitleselleşmesinden kalite güvencesine, deprem sonrası yükseköğretimde yaşananlardan uluslararasılaşmaya, dijitalleşme ve yapay zekadan araştırma etiğine, mesleki gelişimden akademisyenlerin iyi oluşlarına kadar farklı konuları kapsamaya çalışacağız. 4 tane davetli konuşmacımız olduğunu söylemiştim. Onların konuşmalarına dair de kısaca bilgi vermek isterim. Birazdan açılış konuşmalarından sonra Dünya Bankası, Türkiye, Kazakistan ve Slovakya Eğitim Direktörü Doktor Hüseyin Abdülhamit bizlerle olacak ve yükseköğretimin etkin, etkili ve dönüştürücü etkisine dair bir konuşma paylaşacak. Ona teşekkür ediyorum şimdiden. Öğleden sonra dün konsey toplantılarını yine OSTİM Teknik Üniversitesi'nin ev sahipliğinde gerçekleştiren Akdeniz Üniversiteler Birliği'ni temsilen Profesör Carlo Di Benedetta hem Akdeniz Üniversiteler Birliği hakkında bilgi verecek hem de riskler döneminde yükseköğretime dair bir paylaşımda bulunacak. Hemen ardından rektörler panelimiz olacak. Bizler yükseköğretim araştırmacıları olarak yükseköğretime dair tartışmaları takip ediyoruz ve bunları yönlendiriyoruz ama yükseköğretimin yönetimindeki kişiler bu konularda ne düşünüyorlar, ne planlıyorlar bunları görmek için 4 değerli rektörümüz, OSTİM Teknik Üniversitesi rektörümüz Profesör Doktor Murat Yülek moderasyonunda bizlerle birlikte olacaklar öğleden sonra. Programın ikinci gününde şimdiye kadar ne zaman davet ettiysem beni hiç kırmayarak kabul eden sevgili dostum Oxford Üniversitesi Yükseköğretim Çalışmalarından Profesör Doktor Rachel Brooks bizlerle olacak ve yıllar içerisinde gerçekleştirdiği öğrenci olmak ne demektir konusunda Avrupa'dan perspektifleri bizlerle paylaşacak. Programın ikinci gününün öğleden sonraki kısmında da İstanbul Aydın Üniversitesi'nden çok değerli hocamız Profesör Doktor Ali Sınağı bizlerle olacak ve yükseköğretimde ihmal edilen bir alan olan araştırma yönetimi ve bununla ilgili bir kalite odaklı model tasarımı hakkında konuşacak. Biraz ben yükseköğretim çalışmaları kısa ismiyle YÖÇAT'tan bahsetmek istiyorum. 2015 yılında o dönemin kurucularının çok önemli fedakarlıklarıyla kurulan küçük ve mütevazi bir derneğiz. Pandemi süreci haricinde her yıl yükseköğretime dair bir konferans en az bir konferans gerçekleştirerek yükseköğretim alanında çalışan çok az sayıdaki kişiye, araştırmacıya, öğrenciye bir ortak alan ve ortak adres oluşturmaya çalışıyoruz. Bunu Türkiye'de çok fazla finansal kaynağı olmayan bir alan olarak mütevazi bir şekilde ve kendi fedakarlıklarımızla yapmaya gayret ediyoruz. Bunun önemli olduğunu düşünüyoruz yükseköğretim alanı için. O nedenle ben şimdiye kadar derneğimize ve bu çalışmalara katkı veren tüm meslektaşlarıma buradan da bir kez daha teşekkür etmek istiyorum. Bu teşekkürü niçin ediyorum? Çünkü yükseköğretim alanı bir disiplin olarak dünyada ya da bir bilim alanı olarak dünyada çok çalışılan, özellikle yükseköğretimin kitleselleşmesiyle birlikte ihtiyaç duyulduğu bilindiği için hem uluslararası çok uluslu kurumlar tarafından hem akademisyenler tarafından çalışılan bir alan. Bizim ülkemizde derneğimizin tarihiyle birlikte 2015 yılında yükseköğretim çalışmaları alanı Üniversiteler Arası Kurul tarafından doçentlik alanı olarak belirlendi ve sosyal ve beşeri bilimler temel alanının altında bir doçentlik alanı olarak belirlendi. Ama ülkemizde her şey çok planlı yapılmadığı gibi burada da mesela ana bilim dalı oluşturulmadığı için üniversitelerde doçentliğini bu alanda alan akademisyenler istihdam edilmek bakımından kafa karışıklığı yaşandı. Biz bunların aşılmasıyla mücadele ederken geçen yıl Üniversiteler Arası Kurul'un çok da katılımcı olmayan bir şekilde aldığı kararla doçentlik alanı, yükseköğretim alanı eğitim bilimlerinin altında bir anahtar kelimeye dönüştürüldü. Yani bu yükseköğretim çalışmaları alanının kurumsallaşmaya çalışan çok az sayıdaki kişiyle bu konuyu kurumsallaştırmaya çalışan bir alanın için çok önemli bir engel ve bariyer oldu. Bunu dile getirmek isterim. Türkiye gibi 7 milyona yakın üniversite öğrencisinin, 208 üniversitesinin, 184 bin akademisyenin olduğu bir ülkede yüksek öğretimin sistematik ve bilimsel bir şekilde çalışılması gerektiğinin öneminin altını çizmek istiyorum ben. Bu yılki konferansımızı geçen yıl Fenerbahçe Üniversitesi'nde düzenlenmişti. Tabii bir de biliyorsunuz pandemiden sonra yüz yüze toplantılar bazı sıkıntılarla karşılaşıyor. Yeni alışıyoruz bu sürece. Bu yıl nerede yapalım diye düşünürken bir araştırma vesilesiyle birlikte çalıştığımız çok değerli OSTİM Teknik Üniversitesi Rektörü Profesör Doktor Murat Yülek üniversitenin kapılarını açtı ve hocam biz ev sahipliği yapabiliriz dedi. Ama her aşamada desteğini hiçbir şekilde esirgemeden bütün ekibiyle birlikte bizlere yalnız bırakmayan, destek veren, işimizi kolaylaştıran rektör hocamıza ve tüm ekibine ben gönülden teşekkür etmek istiyorum. O kadar kalabalık bir ekiple bize katkı sundular ki ben her birinin ismini buradan saysam dakikalar alacaktır. Ama özellikle Doktor Ayşe Atabay'a koordinasyonu yürüten buradan özellikle teşekkürlerimizi iletmek isterim. Bir teşekkür de afişimizde de göreceğiniz gibi TÜBİTAK BİDEB'e biz etkinlik gerçekleştirme başvurusunda bulunmuştuk. Onlara da katkıları, destekleri için teşekkür etmek istiyorum. Zamanlarını, emeklerini bizlerle paylaşan, davetimizi kabul eden davetli konuşmacılarımıza, panelistlerimize, bildiri sunan araştırmacılara ve benimle birlikte bu süreci yürüten YÖÇAT Yönetim Kurulu ve Denetim Kurulu'ndaki tüm değerli meslektaşlarıma çok teşekkür etmek istiyorum buradan. Biz en az Şubat ayından beri bu konferansı gerçekleştirmek için onlarca online ve yüz yüze görüşme, yüzlerce e-mail, yüzlerce WhatsApp mesajı, telefon konuşması gerçekleştirdik. Çok hassas, çok ince ve çok ayrıntılı düşünerek bu konferans için hazırlıklarımızı yapmak istedik. Umuyorum verimli bir toplantı olur. Ben tekrar katılımınız için hepinize çok teşekkür ediyorum.
Yükseköğretim Çalışmaları Derneği Başkanı Sayın Profesör Doktor Armağan Erdoğan'a açılış konuşmaları için teşekkür ederiz. Şimdi açılış konuşmalarını gerçekleştirmek üzere Sayın Rektörümüz Profesör Doktor Murat Yülek'in kürsüyü teşriflerini arz ederim.
Değerli misafirler, çok vaktinizi almayacağım. Bu konferansa 7. Uluslararası Yükseköğretim Konferansı'na ev sahipliği yapmak üniversitemiz açısından büyük bir mutluluk vesilesi. Armağan Hoca'nın bahsettiği gibi birlikte bir yol yürüdük. Eğitim alanına yeni girmiş bir üniversite olarak, daha henüz 5 yaşını yeni bitirmiş bir üniversite olarak Cumhuriyet'in 100. yılında sadece kendi üniversitelerimize değil, belki dünyadaki diğer yükseköğretim kurumlarına da bazı yeni fikirler, değerlendirmeler getirebilecek bu konferansa ev sahipliği yapmaktan son derece mutluyuz. Konferansımızın teması yeni nesil üniversiteler. Biz de yeni nesil bir üniversite olmak ilhamına sahibiz. Üçüncü nesil bir üniversite formatında üniversitemizi şekillendirmeye çalışıyoruz. Tabii üçüncü nesil üniversite ne demek? Henüz yeni oluşan bir kavram. Dolayısıyla biz de bunun tecrübesini yaşayarak bir taraftan da tüm diğer kurumlara bir tecrübe olsun istiyoruz. Sizleri burada bugün misafir ediyor olmak bizim için ayrı bir mutluluk. İngiltere'den gelen Rachel hocamızı, Rachel Brooks'a, yine Dünya Bankası Eğitim Başkanı Doktor Hüseyin Abdülhamit birazdan size seslenecek ve diğer bütün hocalarımıza, Türkiye'nin ve dünyanın değişik yerlerinden gelen hepinize teşekkür ediyoruz. Çok kısaca bir İngilizce'de onlara hoş geldin dedikten sonra karşınızdan ayrılacağım. Dear guests, we are very happy to host you here, especially Dr. Rachel Brooks, who came all the way from the UK, and Dr. Hüseyin Abdülhamid. We are a new university. We are really young, 5 years old, and we aspire to be a third generation university for whatever it means. So we are trying to learn and do at the same time, and therefore I guess we are producing a kind of experience or a data point for other universities. We are very happy and honored to host this year's International Higher Education Conference, and I especially thank Professor Armağan Erdoğan and our team for making it possible for us to be together. And I wish a successful 2 days of conference to all of us. Thank you so much for coming.
Çok üzgünüm. Bugün beni biraz fazlaca kürsüde göreceksiniz. Ama bu takdimi ben yapmak istedim özellikle. Arkadaşlarımdan da bunu rica ettim. Dear colleagues, now it's time for our first keynote speaker, Dr. Hüseyin Abdülhamid, who serves as the World Bank Education Program Coordinator for Turkey, Kazakhstan, and Slovakia. He will deliver his keynote titled Elevating Higher Education for Lasting Relevance and Transformative Impact. But before giving him the floor, I would like to thank him for accepting to be with us today and for his valuable efforts and contribution to higher education so far. And I would like to share his short bio with you. His professional career includes international development, academia, and government, so he has a variety of interests. He holds a PhD degree in statistics. Before joining to the World Bank, he was a senior administrator and professor of management at the University of Maryland in the United States. During his tenure at Maryland, he led pioneer research on institutional effectiveness, institutions, and policies in relation to e-learning and adult education. He has more than 25 years of experience in different fields of education, teaching, education system reform, data analysis, and strategic planning, system intelligence, institutional effectiveness, and system accountability, and so forth. He worked on global engagements such as a Data for Learning and the Education Flagship Initiative, Systems Approach for Better Education Results. So the floor is yours.
Thank you, Arman. Thank you, Professor Yule, for inviting me to this conference. And thank you all for being here. I just want to look at higher education from, let's say, an external eye, not to be critical of higher education, but hopefully I will motivate you more in transforming higher education to the next level. We always hear about next generation universities, third generation university, fourth generation university. These, you know, these are terms that we move on with, but most of the time it doesn't have that much meaning. But what matters most is what is on the ground. And I'm glad to see students also here. So just to highlight that, the value of higher education in the global, from a global perspective, but also from a local perspective. Higher education is always the hope for countries from an economic growth perspective, but also from a social development and from prosperity. So I see, if you see in my presentation, I use words like elevating, transforming. So this is what will be the focus on how we move higher education to the next level of relevance, because this is a question that we always hear from meeting with governments from around the globe, from the south to the north, to the east, to the west. They always question what is the relevance of higher education? Is higher education still relevant? Is higher education doing what it's supposed to do? Is higher education returning the real value on investment? Higher education is becoming expensive. How we justify the investment in higher education, how we justify the continued support of government to higher education. So I just want to okay. So in my introduction, I just want to show you some metrics. Like let's quantify the relevance. I want to show what relevance what we mean by when we talk about relevance of higher education. So let's start first. So the world is changing. Everything is transforming. The workforce is changing. The world of work is adjusting every day. How is higher education adjusting to that change? So one of the relevant metrics for this, how many academic programs are created a year? Let me go back. Okay. So at your university in the last 5 years, it's okay now. Okay. So new programs created. What is the number at your university? How many new fields do you see there? How many adjustments to the academic programs are happening? What about research and development budget? Is it changing? Is it moving? Are you, which type of research are you getting? Is it continuing the traditional theoretical, or it is now realized by industries and by the outside world and businesses that the research has a value and people are willing to put money in it? How many active researchers do you have? So this is also another question. When you look at universities, you always look at who are the people who are doing research and how many are those people and what they are doing, which type of research, which type of collaboration in research is there. How many research contracts are annually? You know, I come from the World Bank, so for sure we always look at the dollar value for everything. So, right, so how many contracts do universities engage with as part of their research and development agenda? Do you have commercialization products? Do you commercialize products that are produced by faculty and by students and in collaboration with the industries? I was really happy to see the translation app that you are all using, and this is an example of what universities can do, and then you do it to solve an issue for you, and then it becomes something in the market with a commercial value that you can sell and you can patent it, and then you can commercialize it. Okay, so let me just give you an examples. I'm giving you the extremes in order to motivate you to see the potential that it is there for higher education. So new academic programs. So in the top universities that we are talking about, like these, the third generation, the next generation universities, they do 5 to 12 new programs, either new, completely new, or adjusted or transformed programs a year. And in these are new fields that they weren't before. So like AI, you would hear AI. So now you will see AI in X, AI in Y. So the AI is a new field. So this requires new programs, new degree programs. There need this all when we say programs, they need to be also aligned with what is needed in the market. That's why they exist here. Cybersecurity, it wasn't there. Now it is a field. There are certifications. There is a need for it everywhere. It used to be only government needs, so now it is for everybody. You know, we used to hear about biology, but now we hear about different types of biology, computational biology, bioinformatics. We used to hear about information, so now we are tailoring these fields that are becoming more interdisciplinary. So one field cannot make it anymore. That in most cases you need to adjust it with something else, or to add something else in order to add value to it. Now, what about R&D budget, the research and development budget? So we are not talking about the millions anymore. So universities are now looking at billions of dollars of budget for R&D. So not only, you always hear about these top universities, University of California, for example, system, their research and development budget is $6 billion. So this is more than the GDP for a country. So, so this is only for research. So that means, you know, there is a trust in the research that it is done at the university, that people are willing to put money, government in addition to private sectors and industries. The University of Maryland that I used to work at, their research budget is $1 billion. This is a state university, one university, and that working in collaboration with others, and it is $1 billion. Johns Hopkins University is one of the largest in the US that is spent on research and development. It's a private university also in Maryland, and it is, they are looking at $3 billion of R&D budget. So it is private and public, so people are willing to put money, even the government. So Johns Hopkins, for example, is in the state of Maryland, and it is a private university, but receives funding for research and for other things from the state more than some public universities. So because the university brings lots of economic growth to the state, so it has a large value. So that's why the potential for universities is huge. Active researchers, we're not talking about 10, 5 researchers. So we are talking about hundreds and thousands of researchers at a university that are doing active research. Now, it doesn't mean that every university needs to have thousands of researchers, but universities can collaborate, and this is the concept that I am promoting in here, that there is no need for universities to work alone. They need to work together. They need to work in partnerships in order to collaborate for brain power, because that's where the crowdsourcing should happen. Research contracts. So we are not talking about one research contract or two. We are talking about big projects of hundreds or thousands of R&D contracts signed a year. So this is, the university is really becoming more of an R&D center for research. We are talking about commercialization. So now almost every next generation university has a commercialization office. So they have an office in order to commercialize the products out of research or from academic programs. There are also patents that are produced a year. So the money that is given to the universities also is measured or quantified by, the results are quantified by the patents that are produced. So that means when we say patents, it means millions of dollars and billions of dollars of value to the research products that they are putting. So now let's put a reality check. In order to achieve these results and or these metrics that I was talking about, there needs to be some adjustments in the way how we look at higher education in general. So let me start with governance. So governance of the universities are now they need to be adjusted in order to accommodate that there is, before we used to have like students, you know, they get a diploma, so everybody is working at the university in order to make sure that the students get this diploma and then if they find a job. Now it is more, so the type of governance, it needs to be more, it's not like a one-person show, it needs to be groups, it needs to be committees, it needs to be a bigger management structure or a well-organized management structure in order to lead the efforts to improve, to transform academic programs and also to transform the research and development agenda. Teaching and research staff. So you need now different types of skills and different types of training and professional developments for faculty members. So before, you know, the faculty members, they just come, they put the lecture and then they leave, and students, they need to do their part and engage with the content and do it on their own. Now it is a completely different model. So that the professor has a different role. So the professor is in charge of the content, but it's also in charge of engaging with students. And research has proven that you know, engagement of faculty with the students has value later on in students' life. So that not only engaging in just in the academic, but also engaging in the social perspective and the guidance and mentoring of students. It is a very important angle. The same thing, the teachers also are researchers, and they are going to develop researchers, so they need to have skills in order to adjust their pedagogy and their interactions and their way of transforming the content in order to empower students with research skills in order to become the new generation researchers. Funding and research. So this is a new different agenda. This is something that needs to be, so the universities need to be look for funding from the different sources and be opportunistic in order to get into the high value funding in order to move on with their agenda. So it is not only that they need their own budget from tuition in order to do these things. They cannot do it only from tuition. They have to look for other sources of funding in order to improve these things. And it is always not easy to go to the government and say, I need money. There are so many universities, so many competition for money. So the universities need to take it on their hand in order to go after the money. The job and market alignment, you know, there are the enrollment rates around the world in higher education increased. However, the employment did not increase as such, you know. So, and I will show that in another slide. So the alignment with the labor market is the most important part of relevance. Students need to get the degree, but also they need to be assured that they find a job. So it's not only that they get the degree, the job is the most important thing. This is how we evaluate universities. And what is the percentage of the graduates got the job in their field. We don't want them just to get the job, but we want them to be employed in a suitable job that fits their degree, not to be underemployed. So many people are underemployed. They have a master's degree, but they work in a job that requires a high school degree. So that's not employment. The employment that we're talking about is you get a degree, you go and get the value that matches the degree and to be on the right spot. So, overall, now we are looking at skills. Like if you go and apply for a job as a student, you go and you get a degree, for example, in biology, or in mathematics, and then you go and find a job. You need to know the relevance of the biology and mathematics to the jobs, to the industries that you are applying. So it is not like you are applying only for a teaching position in mathematics and biology, but you want to work. And you will be surprised that there are so many places and so many universities, so many industries that they hire for these fields if you have specific things. So if you have a degree in mathematics and then you took a course, for example, on signal processing, so you are now in another field that you have experience in signal processing. So you could be applying for an engineering job, but you graduated from a mathematics degree. The same thing for biology. So if you take a biology and you say you take an informatics class and you take a programming class and you know how to analyze biological data, so you are in another area. So it is a competency. So now the market appreciates competencies and skills, not the degree. You could have the degree, but once you go for an interview, once you go for, or they hire you for practice, they find, and this is a fact, they find that they need to train you, the company needs to train you again. So, and this is costing the companies a lot of money. So it costs them months of unproductive work for the new graduate, and also it costs them money to train them. Okay, when I talk about impact, I'm talking about impact of higher education in two areas. One is the monetary value. So the monetary returns, how much money is returned from universities in terms of earnings of individuals, so how people are seeing the value of the degree from the old fields that are there or the new interdisciplinary fields, like do they see the value of it? Do they get the jobs? Do they get the salary that is expected from the degree? Do universities contribute to the job creation? Because when you have a production of people in AI, for example, when you have new graduates in AI, so other companies might be interested in opening offices or starting businesses in Turkey because there is a supply of graduates in these fields. So universities need to be contributing to the jobs creation. And the contribution to the economy, how much is really contributing to the economy? Right? So many things like that when you advance the education system, you need to look how much it is going to be producing. So that's the value of the degree, and that's the value of the investment. That's where the university become valuable. In terms monetary and how much revenue is generated to the university or to the associating agencies in terms of involvement or production in patents and licensing. In startups, how many startups are produced from the work of universities, of the faculty and the students and the partnerships with the industry. Attracting grants, industry partnerships, how many partnerships with industry? Not when we say partnerships, not only just memorandum of understanding of these things, actual work, that do you solve anything for the industry? Do you engage in helping the industry in improving a product or in producing a new product or in filling positions or in collaboration in research to solve serious problems. Intangible returns, like, the prestige of the university. The university used to be very prestigious. So is it the same? Are we keeping this also when we are investing in universities? Is the university, when you say I went to OSTİM, how people perceive it? This is perceived based on the products that are produced. The human capital development, how they are contributing, how many people from universities now are serving in government, how many people are executives in companies, how many people have led to startups. So this is how we look at these intangible returns. How they contribute to the society, how they contribute to the global issues like climate. Like how are they solving the problems that benefit the lives of people? to what degree the universities are engaged in things to improve, like, for example, let's say that there are earthquakes. What the university role in improving the response to the earthquakes, in predicting earthquakes? This is like a national interest area. So that's what we mean by the impact. Impact in terms of how much returns they produce to the economy, and then how much they produce to the society. So let's look at this, although it is up to 2010, but it is same pattern. If you look at the returns to higher education in blue, and you look at the enrollment, so we see that enrollment has exponentially increased, so that now in most countries more than 50% of people achieve higher education degree, right? But in terms of the returns to higher education, you see that it is flat and even going down. And in different countries, it is the pattern is even getting worse, that it is the returns are going down faster. So the enrollment is high because there is a need for jobs, especially due to the technological transformations, but the returns are not improving. So that means the relevance of higher education is questionable. Now, in order to reach or to go there, to get to these opportunities, there need to be some vision. So there needs to be a vision for universities. So the vision of universities need to be transformed, that 10 years ago is different than today. So how we adjust the vision in order to achieve a new strategy and look at innovations and transformation agenda. Now, structural change. So most universities suffer from efficiency. So universities in many cases around the world, and it is changing now, they suffer from this as government. So they are not changing and improving their efficiency model in order to save resources and in order to make things better. Efficiency, it means how can you achieve the results faster and cheaper. The R&D agenda, you need a new R&D agenda in order to match the needs and make yourself relevant. So also you need to respond to the global mega trends, like mega trends in terms of the technological transformation, to the climate change, to the green transitions. These are new fields. They require new skills. So there need to be structural adjustments in that area. And the most important thing in the production system. So the university need to be also looked at as a production entities, how much they produce, how much they contribute to the production in the country in terms of developing competencies among people, the human development, and also in getting them the jobs, and also in activating the research and make it of local and global value for the country. So the transformations that we're talking about, so just quickly, it's optimization. So the system need to be optimized. And I will give examples. To be dynamic, the system need to be dynamic, changing, that this is not stable, that this is a changing world, so that every day things change, the skill change, the interests of people change, the competencies that of the students are changing. There need to be integration. So as I said, with these fields, that the interdisciplinary is becoming a fact, that everything needs to be linked. So that economics is not the same as in economics before. So economics is now connected with so many things in order to, so, you know, health economics, education economics, industry economics, and that we used to say micro, macro, and that's it. That's economics. Now it is changing. The partnership model. So this is, as I said, not a one person or a one university. It is like between universities and across universities, and also with national, international, but also with industries, locally and outside. And business and revenue, I mentioned that a lot. So let's just look at it in terms from a system thinking approach. University is not working alone. So the university also, they get the students like you from higher education. So I mean from high schools. So they get it from K to 12. So the K to 12 model needs to change in order to produce the competencies in order to make students ready for college, and not ready only just in terms of reading and mathematics and all of this, but also in soft skills, in digital skills, in technical skills, that they are ready for college in order to take these skills to the next level. And also that they need to understand what are the fields that they are getting into. So in general, you know, they look at I got a high score, so I will go to School of Medicine. But maybe the School of Medicine is not the best for that student and can do better in another field. So that's why this dynamic attitude needs to be there, and the schools need to be contributing to it. So that's why the education system need to be aligned in order for students to reach the universities with the skills in order to advance. But also I see here like language programs, that they need to speak multiple languages. The one language thing is not anymore. So you cannot live or survive well in Turkey with only Turkish, that you need to speak another language. So because the jobs that are required now, they need another language. So they need to, you need Turkish, you need also English, you need German, so that's the global language, because the jobs now, you could be working at a company in the US while sitting here. So, and getting the same salary as people getting in the US. So the language is very important, and that's need to be established early on and not to wait. Also, students in high school need to be, there are lots of examples around the world for these things to be introduced to the professional jobs early on. So in high school, they can be, in general, the university or in general schools are structured to say these students will go to science fields, those will go to liberal art, those will go to business, those to go to vocational. But these are not anymore the only things. So you could be in science, but also focusing on engineering. You could be in the science track and focusing on medicine. And these are now, there are many examples are these, they call them signature programs around the world, or mix between technical and academic programs in high schools without changing that much. They just take the electives in high school and they structure the electives to focus on specific fields in order for them to go later on. So they will be introduced to medicine before they go to university and be in medical school. So they know how a career in medicine looks like, and if this is something that they want to do or not. The same thing that they will need to be adjusted to if they will go for engineering, to understand what is engineering in high school early on. The early, the better. And also vocational education. Vocational education is changing now. So vocational education is not used to be before, that only vocational education producing these skills that are to become a handyman. Now vocational education produce mechatronics engineers, level 1 engineers, which is needed in most companies. They produce level 1 engineers that work for auto industry with in electric cars. So these fields are changing. So vocational education is changing, technical education is changing. Academic education together with technical can also produce different results. So the first one is the equipping students early on with competencies and the skills that are needed. In area 2, in the system, there needs to be an improvement in employability through strategic skills development at the universities. Universities, they have 2 roles. In many countries, it is only working on one, which is taking the students from high school to college and then take them to either graduate schools or work. Now the world is changing, as I said, it's changing, so it is requiring a new reskilling. So then the reskilling of students, so current workers need to be reskilled after some time. So they need to come back to the university and take courses, and also go for degrees and go for certificate programs. So universities need to be engaged in that area. So the area of empowering current workers or people who are not working in order to find jobs, or for those people who are working to have a better job. So they need to come back either with the traditional degree or a non-traditional degree, like in micro-credentials or certificate programs. And this is becoming very popular. So for example, adult education in the US, which is like, this is the reskilling things that we're talking about, is becoming like 50-50. So the traditional ones are 50% of the students in higher education, and the non-traditional students are 50%. And in some cases, even it is higher. The value of internships and apprenticeship programs is very important. So you cannot just graduate from a program without having an internship, without having an apprenticeship at a company or an industry or a firm outside of the university, or engage in work in the labs of universities that is directly in work with the industry. So this is a very important thing. So the practical experience is more important than just the academics. So universities need to orient the students to these things, to adjustment to or being engaged to the real world. So they need to understand the cultures and the subcultures of the profession that they are going to get into. And they cannot get that without doing these internships. But also the labor market, understanding what is the need of the labor market. So labor market observatories, this is the value of data. So what are the jobs that are needed? What are the jobs that are paying higher high salaries? Which are the ones that have high value? You know, which fields that produce graduates that have high value? How can I become a graduate with a degree to work in a high value sector? So these are important activities in order to collect data about the labor market needs and feed back to the universities. And then this is the transformative activities that I was talking about. So programs need to be adjusted in order to fit to these type of needs in the labor market. And then area 3 is how we can scale up the role of universities in partnerships with the industries in order to produce products of high commercial value, and that requires an agenda, requires an investment, and also requires private sector collaboration. This is just a quick thing about the area 1, and as you see here, these are examples of some programs. Like, for example, let me go for the middle one, the technical one. So, for example, in South Korea, in 2008, there was a financial crisis, and the unemployment in Europe was in many countries above 50%. And many countries were affected, like Spain, for example, it was a 50% unemployment. In Germany, it was 5%. And the reason for it, because Germany, they focused on vocational education, and they focused on these technical gymnasiums that so the skills are still needed in the economy, so they did not suffer from unemployment. So South Korea suffered from it from a different way. So they have all students are going from high school, they want to go to higher education. So they want people to work in the industries. There are so many jobs in the factories and so many jobs in the technological industries, and they don't have people because people are going for higher education. So they go for higher education, they finish from higher education, they're unemployed because they're not needed. So they created, they took the German model of vocational education, they call it Mr. Schools, and they made that as an important reform in South Korea. In 2010, they introduced 50 schools, and then they became a popular program in which incentivizes students and companies in order to be in high school, to be in high school vocational. So they do 2-3 days in school and 2 days at work. So they work with the companies. They have a guaranteed contract that they will work for the company if they graduate from the program. So they have guaranteed employment. So that's a transformation. That's a reform in order to make vocational education relevant. There are so many other examples. Improving employability through strategic skills development. I talked about higher education and And there are many examples how the apprenticeship in Germany and Switzerland programs became so successful and added value to higher education. And when I talked about the labor market observatories, so you will see that these centers are producing projections for the jobs, what will be in 2031, what are the jobs that are needed in the next 5-10 years, right? And based on data, what are the degrees? There are, for example, I used to work on these things. There are graduates from community college that they go for only two years of college in areas that are needed in the economy, and they make more than 50% of people who graduated with a PhD degree, just because they are in the right field and they only went for two years. So it is the choice is the most important thing, and the decision you make early on in order to be at the right field at the right time. And then the third area, just here to highlight that in order to get involved into this commercialization and incubation and startups and engaged in global value chains with industries, you need to have institutions built on there. You need to have funding. You need to have incentives. You need to have new academic programs that are relevant to these research areas. So when we say informatics and biology, so you need to have computer scientists, mathematicians, statisticians, biologists. So you need to have those work together in an interdisciplinary areas in order to produce this research and produce things. The same thing, for example, the interpretation, these things, that it requires people who are programmers, requires people who are linguists, it requires people who are business people. So, and as I remember, I showed an example that every university has now commercialization office. So this office is helping people take their ideas and become a business, and these are examples. And there is a value for it. So if you look at it, so it's university, industry, and government. So now the university is directly linked to these things. Before, it is only the degree production. Now we are talking about skill production and an economy of scale in high value areas. So these things are important, and it has return. So the government is an investor in these things. So you don't have to go and beg the government to give you money, right? Because I need X, Y, and Z. Now universities are going to the government and say, invest in me. So give me money. I want you to invest in the university. I have these programs, and I want you as an investor, and I'm going to pay you back. And we see it in bank projects. Yeah, like in the bank projects, we used to go to the Minister of Finance and sign a contract, a loan for a country in order to improve higher education. Now, higher education institutions, some countries, they come and say, no, because Minister of Finance is telling them, I don't want to borrow for you. You can find your money yourself. So now universities are coming to the Minister of Finance and say, I want to borrow from the bank. So directly. So now we are giving loans to the Minister of Finance. Minister of Finance is signing a loan agreement with universities. And universities are paying back because they see the value of this. So this is a long-term loan, and universities dream for that money. And there are other approaches for these things. So, but the government needs to know that I'm getting a return. So the graduate is getting the return, the university is getting a return, the industry is getting the return, the government is getting the return. So then it becomes of benefit to everybody to invest in. So this is the model that I'm talking about. Now moving forward, you know, if you look at, as some economists estimated that for the US in recent days, that 50% of the GDP growth is associated with innovation. So innovation is like is necessary. So for economic growth, you need, and you see it in here, you see the new high value sectors in this country is also improving the economy. But when we talk about it from higher education, when we say next generation, so this is how we judge next generation. Do you have a next generation learning? You have a next generation discovery system? That's the research. Do you have a next generation engagement model? You have a next generation innovation. Do you have a next generation spaces and infrastructure at the school in order to be able to lead these things? So when we say adjusting the academic and business model, so university, this is a new terminology now. University needs to have a business model. So they have the academic model and they need to have a business model. So the academic model needs to be adjustment to be aligned with the new vision, but also there needs to be a way how to universities will make a link between research, between what the work that they do, the projects that is done at the university from students and from faculty, and how it is moving to the next level. So diversity is important, diversity in the skills, diversity in the, and also the ecosystem needs to be developed and to be adaptive, that they need to be adjusted, they need to be able to change based on needs. Let me just say, show you just some examples. I'm trying just to quantify to show you how the academic models need to be changed. So now with the introduction of this learning management system, with the technological, the digitalization of education curriculum, so now students can have access to the education, to the material all the time, 24 hours. It's not only in the lecture time and discussion session in the school. So there are so many resources that can be put into the learning management system and the learning content. So students can be exposed to the theory, to the practice, to the examples, to the simulations, to the, so that is changing. So interaction and feedback, there needs to be interaction between the for professors, interaction between between students and guest researchers, between invited speakers, invited in the classroom or in the either virtually or in the sessions, and providing opportunities for collaborative projects to work on projects together and take it to the next level. And understanding the real life experiences. So getting students to get into these, to understand it either by looking at examples, by looking at content, or to do hands-on activities in order to show that. And we can see that this is highly associated with retention in school, in the university, that students stay in the programs, they pass rates increased, and in many cases we saw a significant increase in learning outcomes in terms of pre and post exams. Now also institutional planning, you know, there are so many structural changes that happen, but also the universities need to adjust. Adjust in which way? So for example, in every university there is an institutional planning. So this institutional planning advises the university or the management of the university in order to make adjustments and changes that have value either financially to the university or in terms of improving academic programs. So there are so many things that are there at the universities that are also subject for change. So for example, registration policy. So when I was at the university and we were doing data mining on the data, and we were looking at the different variables, different models of what are the indicators or the variables that are associated with student success. And in one time we looked and we found that there is, if we see how the data can be clustered by, there is one variable that is showing something, but it is not one of that we accounted for. So we started to look at running the a smart system in order to identify these things. And finally, we found that actually registration time was an important factor and that we never considered it. When do students register for the course? 1 month before the class starts, 20 days before the class starts, 1 week before, 1 day on. So it is associated. And in some courses, it is actually linear. So those who register 30 days have the highest grade. Who register 20 days, less. So registration policy need to be looked at. Second, the term length. We have the traditional term things of 15, 16 weeks. Do we still need the 15, 16-week semesters? So now you will see many universities, they have accelerated sessions that they do. And for many students, these accelerated sessions work better. So these are the things. So, but it needs to be evidence-based. How many students should we have in a class in the specific field? The class size. The class size is associated with different factors, because if you minimize the class size, then you will have less interactions. If you increase them, then it will be out of control for the faculty, for grading, and for etc. So how you balance, how you find the optimal class size? These are institutional steps that need to be done from institutional planning, and universities need to do transformative actions in order to utilize the data, in order to look at these indicators. And also connecting the dots. Remember I said about labor market observatories? So now systems are changing. So now we have information on students because there are national IDs. So with the national IDs, students enter kindergarten and then they continue to high school, they go to college. There are systems that capture all their data. So even in many systems, they capture them even after their employment. They know what they did in college and what they work on, how much salary they make, etc., through intelligent systems of integrating data without releasing any personal information. And without anybody knowing the personal information. Once it gets out of the school, nobody knows who's this student, except the school. So once they go to the university, only the university knows the student. When they leave the university, nobody knows who's this person. So it becomes just a data point, and that is, but connecting the dots. So this has provided feedback to the academic system, to education, in order to improve early on. So Shanghai, you know, when they were trying to improve their systems, they found that actually, when they looked at the PISA scores, and they also followed up in their first engagement with PISA, the International Assessment OECD test. So they found that the students, they are not good in graphics. They don't link charts. They don't know how data and charts work. And they even looked at the industries, and they found even in the industries, this is a weakness of their graduates. So then they went back to preschool and they adjusted the curriculum in order to introduce these type of skills early on in order for students to graduate with these skills. And the same thing, so now employment data is leading to go back to the university in order to adjust. Or, you know, so many of your students did not have these type of skills, either communication or etc. And that's what contributed to the success of this person. So the GPA itself is not the predictor. So there are other predictors. How we get it? From the data systems. Longitudinal data systems, that will take it to the next level. And AI now is everywhere. So now the data can be massaged and changed to valuable information through the AI models. University industry, I want to highlight one important thing. You know, we always look at it from, you know, we want to other people to see the universities. If you look, let's look at the university value added. And many universities do not capitalize on this. University is an important organization. In any country, university is very important. And people need to realize that. Everything is institutionalized. You know, when you have people outside the university, they can create, but it is not institutionalized. The university is the right place for invention because of the institution around it, the academic programs, the brains, the motivation, the thing. So it's attractive for any place. Collective brain power, you know, you have international academic programs. You know, when you have academic programs, so the academic programs will bring businesses to the country. So students and faculty who come to the country, who engage with the university, can also bring businesses and bring foreign direct investment to the country because of these programs. So the program create opportunity, and this happened from the university. So the university is an important institution for R&D growth. You know, there are science agencies, there are private agencies that do R&D for companies, but universities can add a different value because you can bring the theoretician into the equation, you bring the students, you bring the young, the old, the experienced, the not experienced. So all work together to innovate. This is a prestige for the university. Okay, let's now the value of this joint research, and if you look at this around the world now and you hear about, you see Google, you will see BioNTech, and you see, and these just the small examples, like from airlines to health to engineering to the quantum physics. You know, these companies that are billions of dollars companies, they're unicorns and all that, are products of universities. So these were, many of them were research projects at universities, for a course or in a lab or an idea that started there. So that's what we are talking about. We are talking about these, how we move from a degree program to innovations. But these innovations, not only, so those who created that, they create a company, but the company cannot function without brain. So they need workers. So where are the workers? They come from the universities. So those pioneers, they come with the ideas, they bring their friends, they bring their networks, and then they become a business and they expand. So the sky's the limit. So this is the next generation university. So now for this thing to happen, and this can happen anywhere, if there is a plan, there is a vision for it. So you see that from our perspective, the university needs to be the center of it. You will become, the productivity increases for the industry and the private sector and for businesses if universities are involved. And so universities, but they need to work in collaboration. So they need to be universities, and in many countries there are science agencies, so they need to make collaboratives between these things. And so the universities on their own, they have, you go to every university I've seen it in many universities in Turkey, and I have seen it everywhere, so they are centers of excellence. So universities, they have multiple centers of excellence. But if you look at the investment in these centers of excellence and the products that are produced from the center of excellence, you will see that they are not as expected. So there are resources that are invested in the centers of excellence, but the products are small. Only if there is an active faculty, if there is an active group, so these function. But the return on the investment in the infrastructure, in the science and technology infrastructure, is not that high. So how to maximize it? We say, okay, continue to do your own research, do your own centers of excellence, build your own products, but come back to the collaborative. Bring these ideas and make these centers of excellence work with other things. So if you are doing AI in a specific fields, so how many researchers are in a university? A research university, as I indicated before, has thousands of researchers. But let's look at the reality, especially for new universities. How many researchers do you have? So you need to collaborate with other people in order to make products. But they need to see also the value of the partnership. But also, when we talked about the funding for these things, we said there are benefits for the government, benefits for the industries, so that's a mechanism. But also, there are individual investments, there are venture capitals. So venture capitals can be established in order to support these ideas. Now you are lucky in this country, you have agencies like Tubitak that is giving money. And many of these are producing high returns. And these things can be even taken to the next level with these type of concepts of university ideas. So maybe sometimes you need millions of dollars. And I will show you just a good example. So these are applications. So for example, you know, there are lots of data about scans that are happening for those people with stroke. You know, so if we take all this data together, and some groups took this together in one of the bank projects, and then they took the data, used AI models, and increased the time to detect what is the problem with the person, detect the stroke, and just even before the stroke or after the stroke. So as we know, if the stroke detection happened after a specific time, so the damage is already made. But if we take all the scans of the heart from different people and analyze it, and it happened that they analyze it, they improve the detection to 3 to 5 minutes. So in 3 minutes, the people know what's the problem, they treat it, then the stroke doesn't have the damage that's supposed to be. So these are projects that start small and then move on to incubation. And let's not go that far. So in one of the bank projects, we established with the Ministry of National Education, we established an education technology hub. So ETCM. ETCM is at Middle East Technical Universities at the Techno Park. So it started as part of the project. It has 3 functions. One is to have a professional lab for teachers to use technology, to train teachers on how to use technology in education. The second one is for entrepreneurs, for students and researchers, entrepreneurs from universities and from schools that they have idea and they want to develop it. And there is also one place for startups. So somebody have a new idea in education technology and wants to develop it, so they go through a system. The Ministry of National Education signed a memorandum of understanding with the Ministry of Technology and Industry. So the platform is there, the space is there, so startups go to this center. They work in there, they have access to teachers, they have access to mentors, they have access to these things, and they work on ideas. They can stay there for 2 years free, they pay nothing, and they produce something. So we started with 45 startups. 11 of them graduated, some of them have contracts with millions of dollars already. So, so this is an idea that can expand, and the market for this are in billion. So, and don't forget, like, anybody heard of, I'm sure all of you heard of Udemy. Who heard of Udemy? Raise your hand. So Udemy is now a unicorn. So it is a $4 billion company. And where did it start, Udemy, by the way? So it's a Turkish company. So a Turkish student, a Turkish researcher created this company. So you hear of Coursera. So Coursera came after Udemy, and so this was the pioneer learning management system. And so this is what we're talking about. So an idea, the 2 guys that were involved in this, they were looking for money, nobody gave them, they went around, they went to the US, they went to the UK, finally they get $1 million, they developed it, so it became a very successful model. So that's what I'm talking about, how to move from a good idea to, and you see the areas of collaboration is huge. So in agriculture and robotics, in agriculture and AI, in factories and in the health sector. So remember, it's collaboration, universities, there is a business in there that needs to be done. There is a funding to make this, this happen. Thank you very much.
Yes, we thank you, Dr. Hüseyin Abdulhamid, for your comprehensive and inspiring speech that is a sort of roadmap for higher education institutions and countries. I think we don't have that much time for comments, questions, or answers, but if you have an urgent one, I can take just one, and then we need to have a break. If it is not, or okay, shall we take, can you make it a short one, please?
Thank you for your speech. You are from World Bank, so I completely understand your emphasis on science and technology field. And you emphasize the science for making profit and collaboration with industry. And you recommended this strengthening the role of private sector in higher education. But many people in universities are engaged in social sciences, and I think World Bank and institutions like World Bank have an influence on social science. And I would like to know your valuable opinions about these topics. Thank you.